We start the chapter with you in a dream, a very dazzling dream, with him fighting actually his house cat. We got the announcers talking about, how he's in a tense battle and they're going blow for blow, dodging and dodging and dodging, and it looks pretty promising. And then we see actually Yu's trainer, Yu's whole head coach, Kay over here going laughing maniacally. And then we see that the cat actually lands a blow on Yu, and then Yu actually wakes up to his house cat waking him up. To this chapter called Rest, we see that, his trainer Kay is actually telling him, hey man, a pro boxer needs time to rest. So you need to rest so that I can pretty much, make more money and have more glory off of you. I can't have you crashing out over anything, okay? So pretty much Yu is having his first day off. And we've seen how does this boring, apathetic, neutral character spends his day off, and we see him flipping through the news. We see that the newscasters that bet on their last match saying that maybe Yu can win or Kasim could win. We seeing them go back and forth. We see him flip the channels, seeing him we go for everything from the nature channel to something that's demonic with demons asking to be sacrificed, to a romantic show, to angelic show, and then we see he's bored with it all. A few hours pass by. He remembers a old memory with him and Jay saying, you know what, I have a new game, man, you should come over and try it. But instead of Yu actually calling Jay and wanting to go hang out with him, he decides to go to the arcade, and then he discovers a 52-year-old man that is an air hockey professional that wants to bring air hockey to the next level, and he just stumbled across Yu. And Yu gave him the perfect air hockey game, enough to give him enough give him enough of a revelation, give him enough of zilt to actually ask, hey man, please join our air hockey team. You could be the world champion in air hockey. He was passionate about it, and Yu just simply said, no thanks, I don't have any bills I gotta pay off. And he just walks away. And of course that's the first person he gonna leave heartbroken today. And then we see him go to another arcade game, have a perfect play. Everyone's thinking, how can he actually do that? Is he like a professional? And then he goes to a different game, game where he's playing an arcade game with another man, and he's winning 100%. So every game that Yu is playing, everything that he's engaging in, he's doing it perfectly. He's completely bored. He has no life to him. He sees no life in the things that he does, and he's just trying to pass the time. Until we see him on a park bench later that evening, spending the entire day playing senseless games to himself, and he sees a very, very happy family. He sees that, the father's carrying his son on his shoulders with his wife to his right-hand side, and they're having a lovely time at the park. And as he's sitting there, letting the wind blow across him, a little boy shows up to him, and he's asking for his autograph. The little boy is dazzled by Yu. He's dazzled by his boxing performance. He's dazzled by his strength. And he wants to be a boxer just like Yu. He wants to be strong. But since we know Yu, we know that his attitude towards life and his responses is very, very awkward. And not only does he shoots down this boy's dream of being a boxer, but he shoots down the actual reason to even live. He pretty much just says that what's the point of being strong if we're all gonna die? And then he just goes on just talking about every single way that we could die, every single way that we're weak to the world and we're vulnerable to the world, and how we could die by pretty much anything. And then the kid actually grows some willpower, grows some strength. Like, no, I'm gonna be strong enough to overcome those things you talk about. I'm gonna be strong enough to beat a lion or beat a tiger. I'm not gonna die from that. And then Yu goes on to say, it doesn't even matter if you don't die from that. You'll die from time, or you'll die from a sickness, or people will just kill themselves. And this just begins to break the boy. He says, your mom will die, your dad will die, and you will die. We all will die. And there is truth to his words, but my gosh, read the room, buddy. You gotta breathe life. You gotta breathe life into people, man. And he was just bringing nothing but death into this kid's world, and it is just it is just sad to see, because this is more of a reflection on Yu's viewpoint and Yu's outlook on life than it has anything to do with the boy. The boy is just what do you call it, a casualty of war at this point, and Yu doesn't even see the damage that he's causing, because he is so distant from life. He's so broken from his childhood, as we see images of him, and his younger self all beat up and gloomy, and we see the origin of really how he became. And we see when he finally comes home after the evening out, he's talking to his cat, and he actually wishes the cat have a long, happy life. And I noticed when I first read this, that he didn't even wish the boy to have a long, happy life. He wished that his cat, I guess the closest bond he has on this planet, to have a good life. I found that peculiar. And then we see him going to sleep tonight, and then we see a heart, and we see the current champion of the lightweight division, Pierre, meditating and thinking about Yu, and thinking about his upcoming match with him. The next time we see John is in his own penthouse with his wife, being irritated that he's not actually eating any of the food that she cooked. And we actually see that John's mind is only focused on Yu. His entire being is focused on Yu. But then when we cut back to our gym, we see that Yu's actually training after the day off. And we see that, I forgot her name, but the female worker there, the coach, the assistant, the secretary, she's looking at Yu, and over the past 2 years, she's been very, very closely watching him. And she's trying to gauge what his actual passions are. What does he love? What his goals are? Because he comes to the gym every single day, he practices alone, and he follows all of the instructions that Coach K gave him to a T. But there's no happiness there. But then when she thinks about his opponents, his opponent Pierre, they give off the same vibe, but Yu is a lot more darker. And she's trying to imagine if there's any life to him, really. But then when we cut back to John, he's meditating in the ring, and his coach is, pointing that out. And his coach knows that he has an obsession with Yu now, because he knows him very, very well. And he's asking if his condition for this match is going to be perfect. And of course, John says it's excellent, but it's not enough. He needs more. He needs more training. He needs more excellence. So pretty much we see that Kay and Yu is going to watch Pierre's next match. And we see that as they're tuning in, Kay is giving him the rundown of how dangerous John is. And John is one of the top 5 pound-for-pound boxers in the world, with one being Yuta Takeda in junior welterweight, another one being the middleweight Fabrizio Santiano, and then the cruiserweight Victor Gregorovic, and then the heavyweight Aaron Tide. And the final opponent being the lightweight Pierre, who won 37 out of 37 matches, 31 a KO. He's a genius and one of the best boxers, obviously, in his division. He's the champion. And the way he fights is he loves to block their vision using his long reach. And also, on top of that, he has a very, very strong jab. He has the longest reach out of any boxer in this division. And he's also very, very fast. But on top of all of that, he has complete control over everything in the ring because of his reach. And on top of that, he also has the ability to switch his stance. He is an orthodox type fighter. He can use both sides. He can use southpaw or the other style. And that is very, very dangerous. It's very, very good for a fighter. So even if they come in close, he can counter it. And we're seeing just how pristine and vigilant his defense is. And it's actually very, very scary. And Kay, for once, is not, I guess, completely sold on the idea that Yu is going to have an easy time fighting John. And pretty much we get in the sense that this is going to be like the first real fight that our main character Yu is going to have, because we're seeing the actual dangerousness of John. So then as this battle's going, obviously John wins the match, and he does it in a perfect fashion, not a single hit on him. And then we see that the announcers are talking about how great he is and how his next match, how he feels about it. And John just straight up calls out you and says, listen, I'm waiting for our next match. I wasn't satisfied with this match. I was off by a few times. If I'm off by a few times, the next match I'm gonna lose because you is that good. But even with that, we see that the champion is confident in his skills and he is looking forward to fighting you, which is gonna be a very, very serious bout. And that ends the chapter.
Penny